How's everyone doing? Happy New Year. I hope you guys all had a joyous holiday season. And this is going to be my first video of the year 2022, which is so crazy to say that. I feel like last year flew by. Hopefully this year will be better for everyone. But the first video of the year is going to be a what didn't make my shelf video. And I got this idea from Joe Marie over at Martinez Joe 74. Thank you for the inspiration. It's helped me go through my collection because I'm continually trying to downsize. I have over 6,000 movies right now, and I want to get it down to about 2,500. So every day I'm trying to go through movies and maybe, pick out a few that I want to get rid of. It is a bit of a difficult task. I've hit an impasse because I've sold over 10,000 movies in the past 5 years, probably closer to 11,000 now. A few months ago, I sold 1,000 movies in a month, which was crazy. But yeah, this is just a video where I show you movies that didn't make my shelf. I used to do a video series like this a while ago called Keep or Toss, which wasn't as good as the, what didn't make the shelf video, because I was basically asking your opinion. And I feel like if I'm debating about getting rid of something, I should just get rid of. I don't want to keep anything in my collection that I can't see myself rewatching again. Space is at a premium, and really, how many movies can you rewatch in your lifetime? I think 2,500 is a good number. But I've got 11 titles right here. And if you've seen any of them, definitely let me know what you think of them. Let's show it this way. So for the thumbnail, so you can't really see for certain what's in here. But yeah, so let me know if you've seen them, what you think of them, and which one of these is your favorite as well. And let me know if you've picked up anything good. Let me know if you're trimming down your collection as well. First up is Space Jam: A New Legacy. I love the original Space Jam movie. This one just wasn't for me. It fell flat. I like Don Cheadle a lot. He's in here as the villainous character. I think of him from Rebound, The Legend of the Earl the Goat Manigault, which is one of my all-time favorite basketball movies. That definitely needs a Blu-ray release. He was really good in Devil in a Blue Dress 2 with Denzel. And this is directed by... let's see what the director's name is right here. Is it going to tell me? It's going to be Malcolm D. Lee. There you go. I was trying to find it on here. I couldn't remember his name, but I know he did. He directed one of the barbershop movies, Next Cut, Girls Trip, Night School with Kevin Hart and Tiffany Haddish, and Undercover Brother. But yeah, this one to me, I just didn't work for me. It doesn't have, it had some of the nostalgia factor, but it not like the old school Space Jam movie does. I was interested to see some of the characters here, but it doesn't have the same feel to me. It's, I liked seeing some of the characters, but I don't know, it just didn't work for me, and it was just messy, and I didn't like some of the acting from some of the characters, and I don't know. I'm still a big basketball fan. I think LeBron James is, he could play for football. He could be. He's a big dude. I feel like he could have played in the NBA during the 80s and 90s and stuff like that and done very well. I know people always try to compare him. It's kind of unfair to compare because the game's changed so drastically from when I was a kid to now. I mean, the three-pointers, like I can't even, people are jacking up so many three-pointers more than in a game than they did in like a season. So it's mind-blowing to me. But yeah, didn't work for me. That's one gotta go. Next up, I got 2 copies of Cry Macho. Sometimes people ask me why I get duplicates. I'll pick up lots that people will sell, and sometimes there's like a local seller. It's kind of dry around here, but occasionally they'll have lots though where it has like 2 or 3 of the same title, and it's just such a great price point for like the whole lot that you have to pick it up. Cry Macho, to me, this one is the worst Clint Eastwood movie I've ever seen. Let me know what your favorite Clint Eastwood directed and acted movie is. He's done some great films for both. But basically, he's just picking up his boss's kid in Mexico, and it's the ex-wife is crazy, and the kid is a terrible actor, by the way. I'm sorry. That was one of the biggest detriments, and that's another thing too. Clint Eastwood, I think he's like 91 years old, something like that, and he's too old to be playing the tough guy, and also he's got these women, much younger women, coming on to him multiple times in here. Come on. You can only suspend disbelief so much. But I checked out the special features with it. It's like the first time he had ridden a horse in like 30 years, which I thought was pretty interesting. But yeah, he's trying to get the kid, and of course him and the kid, butt heads, and I don't know, it's just an arduous journey, road trip after that. Police are after them. The ex-wife's henchmen are after them, and he finds out, that his old boss has more motivation for getting the kid than just, trying to find his kid. And then he used to be, Clint Eastwood used to be a big rodeo star, tough guy, and he's kind of down and out now and doing this to help his old boss, which is weird too, because in the very beginning he butts head with the boss, and boss fires him, and then boss comes back and says, I helped you out for so long. Do me this favor. I would have been like, shove it. You just fired me. But yeah, this was definitely the worst Clint Eastwood movie I've ever seen, unfortunately. It was rough to sit through. Cringy through most of it. Just, I hate to say I'm not, an ageist or anything like that, but it's just hard to see him in this role trying to play a tough guy, trying to, all these women coming on to him. I mean, I don't know. He's got a showdown with one of the henchmen guy. Like, come on. Clint Eastwood, what are you going to do? Blow on him. He falls down. He's 90-something years old. It was rough to see and sit through this. I don't know. I'm trying to be really nice with the things that I say here, but it just did not work, unfortunately. I feel like part of the reason it didn't work was Clint Eastwood trying to play the role that he's played for so long, and he just can't anymore. Reality, unfortunately. But yeah, super disappointing in that one. I guess, I asked you for your favorite Clint Eastwood movie. Let me know your least favorite Clint Eastwood movie, directed or acting. That's my least favorite for both. Next up is The Delta Force, which I haven't seen this as a kid. I remember liking it. The only reason I'm getting rid of this one is I have the US Blu-ray. This is a Region B locked Blu-ray, Arrow Video release. Really nice addition for it. I don't have a Region Free player anymore. It's got the booklet in here. So there you go, reversible artwork as well. If you reverse it this way, you don't get those obtrusive rating logos that are on like UK edition. This is a UK release. A lot of other countries have that, Australia, Germany. Thankfully, we don't have that here in the US or Canada as well, which is also Region A. But yeah, a ton of special features right here. Great action film with Chuck Norris, Lee Marvin. And this is from Menem Golem, who directed this, and he directed a bunch of other films produced with his cousin, and they co-owned together the Canon Group, which produced so many films. I actually watched a documentary. I want to say the documentary name was like The Go-Go Boys, which I didn't really love the title, but it works for their last names, Menem Golan and then Yoram Globus. But it was really interesting to see the insight and how one of them was doing all the work and trying to make the films work, and the other one was just spending up the budget making more films, and how that really kind of drove them into the toilet. And just to see how different when they hadn't talked to each other for a while, and they reunited during this documentary, and just how the one still has that same mentality of trying to make more films, make, and just not having the budget to continue to do so. And just, it was really, it was a good insight to some of the films too, but also the detriment of working with family, because they were cousins, and just how, I feel like that guy had some mental health issues too with that mindset. But definitely good insight, especially for if you're an 80s fan. They've produced so many great, action movies and stuff during that time period. Next up is In My Country with Samuel L. Jackson and Juliette Binoche. This is a Twilight Time release, limited to 3,000 copies. I loved this company when they were making. They're still doing it in limited runs now, though. Before they would, release a bunch of films every month, but now it's like, I don't know, just like a handful over the past like year or so. Screen Archives picked them up. And again, this company was just amazing. One of the things that I liked, just a simple thing, the design in the back where all the technical aspects were boxed off and super easy to find, like the runtime, the year it was made, all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate that. A lot of times it's hard to find that on the back. I'm always looking for, the runtime, sometimes the year as well. But this is directed by John Borman, who directed Deliverance, Exorcist 2, which I know a lot of people hate. That particular horror sequel, it's not perfect, but I don't think I hate it quite as much as the level of so many other people do. But he also directed Excalibur, Point Blank, a few other movies. But yeah, that is one that I feel like everybody talks about, Deliverance, and then Exorcist 2, kind of like the opposite ends of the spectrum there. But this one to me was a bit flawed. It was a mixed bag. It's focuses on the relationship between poet Juliette Binoche and then Samuel L. Jackson, who's a journalist from the U.S. that goes to Africa and covering the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission hearings in Cape Town. basically going over everything and apartheid. And then the ending is what really stood out for me. There's one character that you think is a certain kind of way, and then by the end you kind of find out more. But it's interesting about those reconciliation hearings and just everything that how it plays out, especially in that country. I just think it's really interesting, and all the terrible, terrible things that happen, and just what they could do with those hearings, and it's just it's very moving, it's very powerful. But I just feel like the film just was so flawed. It didn't really work fully for the emotional impact it was going for. And I really didn't like how the relationship played out between the two of them as well. I feel like that was unnecessary to push like a romance aspect, especially she's married too. And it just, I don't know, that you don't need to push that all the time. I just feel like sometimes it's a little bit too forced, and that definitely felt like the case here. But a really nice release again. I always love what Twilight Time does. Sometimes they have the clear cases, and then they have the booklets. I love when they have the booklets, behind the scenes information and photos. And if you're a fan, and usually you have the original poster art, and then you have interior artwork too, disc artwork. So beautiful release. And again, most of these are out of print. Go for a fair amount of money. Not always the case, but usually, a lot of sometimes you use Blu-rays and get for cheap. These ones usually you're not going to find for cheap anywhere. Next up was Neil Jordan. This used to be out of print. Used to go for like 30, 40 bucks. Now there's a Criterion Collection release. That's the only reason I'm getting rid of this one, because I want to upgrade it to the Criterion release. I love the heck out of this film. It's from Neil Jordan, who's directed a ton of great films. It's funny, he did some horror stuff too. Interview with the Vampire, of course. And then Company of Wolves, which is a werewolf movie that I did not like. It's a period piece werewolf movie. I'm not a big period piece fan. So I feel like that part didn't really work for me. Had a, kind of like a fairy tale feel to it. But I don't know, everybody seemed to love that one, but I'm not the biggest fan of that one. He also did some other films. Crying Game was another one, kind of different. There was another one, I'm trying to remember the name of it, where it was like a haunted hotel kind of aspect, but kind of like a goofier horror comedy-esque kind of one. But Interview with the Vampire, Company of Wolves, Crying Game, those are like a few ones that just pop out for me for him directing wise. But really love this one with the cast here. Bob Haskins, Michael Caine. He gets out of jail and he's kind of escorting this high-class call girl around, just driving her around and stuff. And they kind of form a relationship, and just how deep it goes. And then with him as well, the boss. But yeah, really enjoy the heck out of this one, and can't wait to pick up the Criterion Collection release. And yeah, again, this used to be out of print. I missed my time period to really sell it at that, but now, I don't know what it goes for now, but not the 30, 40 bucks it was going for. Next up is the Goldfinch, which I liked aspects of it, but overall it felt flawed. I know everybody raved about the book. I try not to compare the books to the film adaptation. It's just not fair. It's an adaptation. You can't put everything from the book into the movie. And it's just, they take a concept and they can change it, mold it to their views. So it's never going to be the same. I remember when I read Jurassic Park as a kid and then I watched the movie. I hated the movie at the time because I loved the book so much, and it just wasn't as good as your imagination could build up and as the book made it out to be. I like Jurassic Park now, but as a kid, I was just mad about it. And I try not to do that anymore. The only ones I can think of that really like surpassed the book, Irvin Welsh's Trainspotting, and then Jack Palahniuk's Fight Club. Those are like two of the only like real exceptions I could think of. But yeah, this one to me, some good performances here, especially from Ansel Elgort. Everybody kind of knows him from Baby Driver, but he's been in a bunch of stuff. You also have Finn Wolfhard, who I feel like it's been in so many things recently. But looking forward to Stranger Things coming back. Jeffrey Wright, who I think is super underrated. It's great to see him getting more love right now. Doing more shows and more movies and things like that. But I remember he's been around for so long. I just thought he was super talented. And then Nicole Kidman as well. She's been in a ton of stuff. She's been around for so long as well. She looks amazing still. But yeah, this was interesting to me, the concept. There's like a terrorist attack, and he's in a museum, and the mother is killed during the bombing, and he steals this painting, this little goldfinch. And just about him growing up, and family that takes him in, and just kind of a coming of age, but also about holding on to that memory too. But yeah, I don't know, I just feel like it was a bit messy, it was chaotic, it was jumbled. I feel like it just misses the mark. It was good, but not necessarily great. Not something that I really want to revisit. I like the cast a lot. Some of the subplots I feel like were unnecessary. They could have done a little bit more with certain other things, but um, I wanted to like it more than I did. So overall, I'm going to let that one go. Next up is FM. This is an Arrow video release in the US. And I like the aspect of this, seeing radio stations, especially this is set during the 70s. And it's, it's like essentially like a dramedy and about the world of 70s US radio stations. And I thought it was interesting, but another one where I felt like I'm probably not going to want to revisit it. But yeah, really nice release though. If you are a fan, go ahead and show you. I like the disc artwork there for like a record player. And again, you've got the booklet and you've got reversible artwork too, which I always like that. Again, Arrow Video is one of the best companies out there releasing Blu-rays today. They do an amazing job, and they're killing it with the 4Ks now coming out too. But I feel like it's killing me though. Within like a year, a lot of these movies that had Blu-ray special editions and stuff like that are now getting the 4K special editions, and it's the double dipping, triple dipping, all that stuff. You know, Blue Underground was doing it, Scream Factory, now Arrow Video. It's killing me. Collector problems, hashtag. But this one, it's a wrestling documentary. It's kayfabe commentaries.com, and it's signed up by X-Pac, but he signed up on the actual clear case, so you can see there's like a little bit of breaking in the signature. Because of that, you never want that. You want them to sign on the paper insert inside, so the clear plastic case can protect the signature. But X-Pac, also known as Sean Waltman, 123 Kid. This was a very different documentary than I thought it was going to be. I did not read the write-up on the back. It's really basically all about his past, addiction issues, abuse as a kid, just attempts things that he did to try to harm himself, and just his more tumultuous life. I thought I was going to talk more about the wrestling aspect. That's what I was really looking forward to. So this was really depressing. It just started out with a bang. It caught him by surprise, which I thought was odd. Like, don't you talk about this beforehand? I assumed you would. So it was really weird. And they showed excerpts from his previous interview, which was more entertaining and more about the wrestling side and anecdotes and matches and stuff like that. And that's what I was really looking forward to. So I was kind of bummed about that. And he looks so different now, shaved head. And I always picture him with the long hair, but I love wrestling, especially during like the Attitude Era. So that's what I grew up with. He was one of my favorites, and I'm kind of bummed to let this go, but it was just a super depressing documentary that I wasn't looking forward to this kind of stuff. And talks briefly about his relationship with China and stuff too. But I don't know, especially since it's signed, but I'm kind of bummed about the signature because it was signed on the outer plastic too. It's not perfect. It's got a little bit of break in the signature right there, but yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give this one up. I enjoyed wrestling during that time period the best for me. Let me know who your favorite wrestler ever all time is, and your favorite modern current wrestling. I want to get back into it. I was briefly watching AEW, and then I kind of stopped for a bit, but apparently AEW's got all the stars now coming back. A bunch of WWE people wrestling there. I really like WCW during time period too, during like the 90s and stuff. But next up is Dead Man on Campus. I remember watching, I thought this was the one that I watched. This wasn't the one. There's like another one, like Dead Man's Curve or something like that. And I want to say, I don't know if it's Matthew Lillard in one of them. I can't remember now. But this was not the one that I saw, and this was terrible for me. This was a train wreck of a movie. Mark Paul Gosselaar's in here, and then you also have who's the main guy? Tom Everett Scott. So That Thing You Do, he was in a few other things. I feel like he could have been more popular than he was. But this has a good supporting cast in here too. Allison Hannigan was in here, Linda Cardellini, and then another guy from How I Met Your Mother, which probably doesn't even say it on here. I can't even think of his name right now. Jason Segel, there you go. But he was kind of like the douchebag roommate in here, and they find out, he's comes from kind of like a wealthy family. He's not really studying, he's just partying all the time. He's trying to study and be studious, and he's not doing well because he's being kept up, and he also finds a girl. So they find this flaw, or not a flaw, clause rather. If their roommate passes away, they're given straight A's or a passing grade, I believe it is. But so they're trying to find like the most depressed people on campus and move them into the room, and hijinks ensue. Again, a good supporting cast, some funny hijinks in here and there, but overall it's a rough watch to sit through. I thought it was pretty terrible overall, and I also kind of hate movies where, you know, characters one way the whole movie and then there's like an epiphany and they just completely change out of nowhere. I just don't believe that. It's kind of the case a bit towards the end, and there is an after credit scene briefly too. But yeah, I don't know. This one to me, I think it's a nostalgia movie. I feel like people that grew up watching it will appreciate it, but if you're watching it for the first time now, it's just cringy and awful. I rewatched a bunch of movies that I liked as a kid growing up, and watching them now, they just don't hold up. Drop Dead Fred, Street Fighter, a bunch of others. They're awful train wrecks of movies for me. Just obnoxious, and this one kind of falls in that category too. I thought this was one that I saw, but it wasn't. It was the other one, and that one's probably not going to hold up to my memory either. But yeah, I think the only reason maybe you'd enjoy it if you're a big fan of the lead actors right there, and maybe you watched it as a kid, but otherwise was not for me. Next up, oh man, this movie was terrible. One of the biggest issues is the casting. The lead actress right here, her father, like, he looks way too young to be the father character. I remember looking up, and I think the father was like a year or two older than her in like real life, and you could tell. It's just, when I first saw the trailer, like I didn't like look at it, or it wasn't even the trailer. It was like just a couple clips, and I thought the father was the love interest because they look to be like the same age, because they essentially are. And this guy's actually older than the father character, who's the actual love interest. And Trish Stratus is in here briefly. She was a wrestler, WWE star, and the casting, you can't get past it. That's just the biggest flaw. It's just so laughably absurd. Whoever was the casting director should be fired, because it's so ridiculous to me. So that's the biggest thing, and it's just a typical Christmas romance kind of movie, and how it plays out is terrible too, where she has to win this competition essentially to win money to save, it's a lumberjack competition to save her family company, and it doesn't work on any level really. But the biggest thing that you take from it is the age issue, and it's just eye-popping and laughably absurd. I was making I was making jokes during the whole movie. Did he have her when he was like 2 years old? Like, you can't get past that, at least for me. It's just, everything else didn't work either, but that was just so mind-blowing to me. But there you go. Those are the pickups right there. If you've seen any of them, definitely let me know what you think of them. I got 11 right there, and these are all available if you're interested. When I first did this, I didn't really think about it initially. I got a bunch of messages on Instagram. People wanted to buy these. They're all for sale. So let me know if you're interested. Leave me a comment down below. Message me on Instagram. All that good stuff. And every day I'm going to be trying to go through more movies and downsize the collection, because I want to get rid of over half the collection. You see the two bookcases right there, but I've got 13 total bookcases and piles all over the floor. So it's going to be an arduous process, and I've hit an impasse, but every day I try to, take out a couple here and there. And if it's something that I'm, debating about, I should probably just get rid of, because again, how many movies can you rewatch in your lifetime? And I really want to have movies in my collection I can rewatch again. So there you go. Expect way more of these videos coming up soon, because it's helpful, cathartic. And they're actually kind of fun to talk about why I don't like these movies. I feel like a lot of times I watch videos on here, and it's just people that are just liking every single movie, and that's just not me. I've had the opportunity to receive review copies before, and I feel like people are under the misconception if you receive a review copy that you have to give it a positive review. No, I've crapped all over movies that I've gotten for review copies and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of these though, I've like Delta Force. I have had that for so long in my collection. Mona Lisa as well, and it's interesting because I'm in a Facebook group and people were talking about like out of print stuff, and this is going to be getting a new release. It will. No, not necessarily. Like, a lot of companies are tied up and licensing rights issue. There's been, Dogma. Will that ever get a re-release? It doesn't look to be anytime soon. So yeah, I mean, I've been collecting for a long time, and yeah, so I think it's interesting to go through the collection and see movies that I've had for so long. And it's like, why was I keeping this? You know, or certain ones I want to upgrade for sure, like Mona Lisa. But yeah, again, I like doing these too because I can, you know, be brutally honest and not hold back. And that's how it should be anyways. Journalistic integrity, I feel like, should be a thing. Don't just say you like stuff for, or maybe some people just like everything. Maybe my standards are a little bit different on that level. But yeah, these are ones that, you know, there's, again, for the Goldfinch, I thought it was a good movie, but not great. I feel like it had flaws, and I'm probably just not going to revisit again. So there's some things that I do like in here that I'm just going to get rid of just because I can't see myself rewatching it. And that's ultimately, even if it's a good movie. And I got to stop rationalize keeping these movies for certain reasons. It's all about, do I love them? Am I going to rewatch them? So there you go, enough ranting. I hope you guys are doing well, and Happy New Year. And I hope this year will be a blessed year for you and everyone. So thank you so much. Take care.